tell you what it's time to build the 302.
Okay, we're going to do a short little segment today. Tooth is over, wearing his Ford t-shirt. I love the mojo.
Keep the mojo.
And I'm trying to get used to that Hannah's going to go to Humboldt, so the property of is pretty significant because I will be the property of Humboldt State coming up here soon, I guess. But what we're doing is we have a push rod issue. We'll explain what a push rod is in a second, but we're going to really do a quick evaluation of
Length.
Okay. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is the part of the show where I force Steve to talk some personal stuff about himself. He didn't want to do this, but as luck has it, he brought something to show me. So I haven't seen it yet, but we're all going to look at it together. All right, man. Now, what were you telling me?
All right, Rob. During the summer, I was involved in a project with the Naval Air Station Jacksonville to perform some alignment on our EA-6B aircraft, which the Navy uses as an electronic jamming plane. Jacksonville is the depot for these aircraft, and within the last year, the Navy decided to take on all of the support of the aircraft from Northrop Grumman, performing the alignment of all of its electronic packages to the center line of the aircraft. And this is the area that the folks at Jacksonville couldn't figure out how to do. They designed some fixtures and such. That's a photo of the aircraft. This is their first rollout, first one that they completed using our methodology.
Wait a minute, our methodology or your methodology?
Well, I don't do this alone. I had a lot of ideas that contribute, but I don't like that I word. It's
okay.
Us. We did this.
Cool.
And specifically, we were aligning a lot of the electronic pods in the very tail of the aircraft. And this was an area where they needed our assistance. This is what it looks like when we hang fixtures on the nose of the plane.
Is this top secret stuff?
This is why we shouldn't be showing this, but you forced me.
Okay, all right.
These are the fixtures used to determine the center line of the aircraft relative to its forward bulkhead. So you see the nose removed. Fixture will pick up on known hard points defining dimensionally the center line of the aircraft. This is a mirror that I come up with an idea to carefully align to those features. And the people of the depot have to relate the alignment of this mirror to the tail of the aircraft, where we have two other alignment fixtures with mirrors on them to get all of these features in line. The tail of this aircraft is about 18 feet high, so it's a little bit wobbly up on this scaffold. Don't look down, it's a little bit creepy. But that was the gist of our effort.
Ah, cool.
Here's a close-up of one of our alignment fixtures up in the tail. Mirrors looking forward, so this is a aft view looking forward. And just a week ago, I received this cool little letter of accommodation and a photo of the aircraft flying above the
Turn
the
that
Lincoln.
just a little bit. I got glare on there. There it is.
It's pretty
cool.
shiny.
Cool. That's awesome. So you've been recognized by whom here?
By the program manager. These people are in Washington. I met this man twice. He went out of his way to personally meet with me when I was in Jacksonville, and he'd shake my hand and thank our team for our effort in helping him with the EA-6B.
That's totally awesome.
So this is a cool thing. I've never received anything like this at such a high level.
Now, just to kind of rewind, what is your formal education for this work?
Wow. Heartbreak Ridge. Class of 80. Well, a lot of my...
I mean, do you have a PhD? Do you?
No, I don't have any.
Where did you go to school for this?
Gee, I started out like a lot of us. I started off in citrus and such, studied to be a machinist. From there I worked with the Navy as an inspector. As a dimensional inspector, worked my way up into optical and dimensional type standards. Learned an awful lot from our national laboratory in Gaithersburg, Maryland. That's where everyone has doctor in front of their name. Learn a lot from these folks, did a lot of self-study. I have quite a library of books and things I've purchased on my own to learn about this stuff. To the point now that a number of people in my field actually consider me to be a national expert. I try to play that down. I don't like the title expert. I'm a student like the rest of us, and every day I learn new things.
But needless to say, you are telling the Navy and these really big, well-respected manufacturers how to calibrate their instruments.
Yes.
Wow.
And sometimes we'll argue about it, but I will usually convince them that the methodology developed by the Navy is the most reliable.
So the important question is then, I've got you here working on Project 302. Will this baby fire up when it's in the wagon?
Guaranteed.
You
Without
heard,
a doubt.
you heard it here, folks.
That baby will light right up.
Guaranteed.
We'll hear this thing roar. It'll breathe fire.
Cool. Now, Steve, you let me read this accommodation, and I want to make sure that we highlight the most important part of this letter without reading the whole thing. Just point out that one sentence.
Oh, the last sentence.
The one sentence that really shines.
Which is expressing appreciation, and it says, your efforts help assure our customers that the folks in Jacksonville and the folks in Corona is the place to go for quality product delivered on schedule and on budget. These are powerful words to my commanding officer from our program managers identifying our command as having the expertise to resolve and help them with their problems.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, Steve didn't want to show that part, but that's the kind of work we got going on here at Project 302. Excellent.
Well, if we put it in an airplane, I'm not sure that it'll fly. But I'll tell you what, if we put it in a boat, I'm sure it'll motor.
Hey, you know what? We've just noticed something. We have some push rods, and again, these are the push rods here that work this valvetrain system. I won't go into technical stuff here because I don't know the right words, but some of these are marked with a part number and some of them are not. And these two that have a lot of play in them do not have any part numbers.
Right.
So
as we do our length comparison measurement, we're going to use only the push rod that we have a nice identified part number so we know what its length is.
you are the man.
Hey, does it make sense, huh?
Indeed.
That way, in case we have a mixed bag of push rods, we won't make the mistake of trying to determine their length with push rods that are of different length.
Gotcha.
Boy, that didn't sound good.
Okay, here is a push rod that is marked with a stock number, RP3167. So we're going to use this one that's supposed to fit a 302 Ford. Now, Steve's been building motors. Show us what you got there. Compare that one. Here, grab that.
It's even shorter, longer, huh?
So what do you got there?
This is a 3/8 push rod for a high-performance big block Chevrolet that they use in Can-Am racing. We call them cigars.
So you had that in a motor in a boat, huh?
Right, we had a big block boat motor at one time. I sold it. I was afraid it was going to hurt me.
There you go. Safety first.
Safety first. I live to tell about it.
So Steve, what do you got going now?
Yeah, we're rigging up the old dial indicator.
All right.
Let's see if I can come up with a relative quick way of measuring the slop.
Cool. We're getting technical.
Bringing out the toys.
All right. You're going to do some dimensional metrology stuff?
To make Terrell happy.
Right on. Terrell will dig
Terrell
this.
digs this.
So where are you going to mount this?
It's magnetic, so I'm hoping it'll stick right here. Oh, this is going to work nice. We'll measure the slop right there. All right.
Are these the kind of toys you pull out when you're working with Boeing and the Navy and all those cats?
Sometimes. Most of the time I'm dealing with optical instruments, autocollimators, alignment telescopes.
Auto what?
Autocollimators.
What the hell is that?
It's a device that will tell me the angular difference of a path of light that leaves the instrument compared to the reflected light coming back to the instrument. And it'll measure in tenths of an arc second.
Really? And we're using that kind of... Can you bring one up here to use on Project 302?
Sure, we got to put a mirror on it though, because it has to be reflective. It has to reflect the light off of something.
All right. Do we need one of those?
Oh yeah, I think we definitely need one of those.
All right, well, we'll have to set that baby up. Okay, so you think this is going to work, huh?
Yeah. All right. So our relative slop from the push rod of known length, we're indicating about 50 thousandths of an inch.
Ooh, let me get back down there. Okay.
So for this particular cylinder, this push rod,
Focus.
to
Okay.
achieve zero lash, needs to be 50 thousandths longer.
Oh, okay.
But beyond that, we're actually going to set it down.
Hold
easy.
it. Now, last episode, you said how much were we off?
About six,
Without even using a dial indicator?
we're guessing about 50 thousandths.
You are
So
the
that's
man.
about 50 thousandths.
All right, cool.
So okay, that guy's 50 thousandths for the exhaust.
Okay, you said this is going to get kind of squirrely now?
Right, because we have to check the lash position when the lifter is on the heel of each cam lobe.
All right.
And we can tell which ones are on the heel, which one are on the nose. This one's on the heel, this one's on the heel. So we could actually check the lash of these push rods in this position. Trick is going to be how you keep track of what ones you've done and what ones you haven't done. Thus the magic marker. This one's done.
Okay. And you've marked each of these intake runners. Is that what this is called?
This is showing me what cylinder number we're dealing with. So I got to write all these numbers down. If we find that we're going to actually have different length push rods in different positions, we have to know exactly what positions we're talking about.
Shouldn't we just have the same length on all 16 positions?
Rob, we're going to cross our fingers and hope that's the case. But I guess what if we don't? So I'm gathering that information now that we won't have to do this again if we find that we have one or two positions that we need a slightly different length.
Right. So it looks like that one is also a 50 thousandths, right?
Right.
Okay. So we're hoping it goes all the way around at that same measurement.
Correct.
Okay.
Exhaust.
Okay, for all of you who do not have hobbies, you need to get a hobby because they provide endless supply of gift ideas for your kids and spouses.
Improved magazine.
Okay, what's happening here on this is number 8 cylinder.
Right.
What do you got?
I got a lot of clearance. We're measuring this push rod to be about 130, 140 thousandths short. Dang, Rob, you're going to hate this. What's going to happen? You're going to wind up with a custom set of push rods.
Custom? That sounds kind of bitchin'.
Sounds kind of expensive.
Oh,
Oh!
that's not bitchin'.
You're going to be spending some of Deb Hare's gig money.
See, because a normal set that is the same size runs about $33.
Yeah, here, this one being so abnormally long just puzzles the heck out of me. Why?
Well, what would cause some of this great variance?
Usually small variations are a result of manufacturing tolerances, predominantly the rocker and the rocker balls. But what we're seeing here can't account for all that. I'm not sure. Over 100 thousandths, that's odd. Even as I swap parts around, I'm not improving it any.
Now, we said that these heads were interchangeable.
Right,
It didn't matter what side we mounted these heads on,
right.
so that has nothing to do with it, huh?
No.
Okay.
Although if the variation is up into the head, if we were to swap the heads, this push rod would now be in that position.
Okay. All right.
I'm not liking this. Good thing we're checking on this, darn it. This is the kind of crap that you need to find that you don't want to find.
Okay, Steve, so we're seeing kind of a big variance here. Is that kind of a normal thing?
Not in a Chevrolet.
Whoa, wait a minute. Be careful, be careful.
The Chevrolet concept has a lot of adjustability up on the rocker balls that will accommodate for a lot of variation in production tolerances that would normally dictate different pushrod length. But the Fords are set up a little different.
Is that a bad thing?
No, it's different. I won't say it's a bad thing.
Okay, so we're on what, number 7?
Right.
Number 7 cylinder, and what have you found?
This one, as we check it, this guy's at 0 lash. It doesn't have any slop.
So 0 lash, no slop means perfect.
Almost.
But yet,
It means
cylinder-
0 lash. We want to set it down into the lifter a little bit. So we need a push rod that's probably going to be, say, 30 thousandths longer or more. It's at 0 lash. If the motor were to run, this one probably wouldn't rattle. But you would not have any automatic adjusting feature of the hydraulic lifters.
and we want none of them to rattle.
No, we don't want any of them to rattle. Rattling would be bad.
Rattling bad.
Yeah.
But number 8 cylinder is like way out.
Yeah. Way out is right.
What would cause way out?
I don't know. There's a number of things, but I don't know what's likely. The rocker balls are mounted on studs. The studs are either pressed or screwed into the head. If the stud length was to change, that would affect the push rod length. Because the adjusting nut comes down onto a seat, so it's dependent upon the installed height of the stud. So if the stud height varies, we would see variation. But I don't know the likelihood of that happening on a Ford. It could be likely, or it may not be likely at all. A machinist would be able to tell you.
Aren't you a machinist?
Not an automotive machinist.
Oh.
Besides, I don't do Fords.
Oh, yes you do. You have a
Yes,
T-shirt.
I have a T-shirt. Okay, number 7. I'm going to call you 0.
Okay, you found out another measurement we need to do?
Right. We want to determine the stroke of the lifter travel.
Okay.
And this one is 0 lash. As we push down, we can see the lifter stroke. We want to know how much stroke the lifter has.
So that little movement, we need to measure that?
Right. Because as we calculate our push rod length, we want to have the length of the push rod such that we're in the middle of that travel.
Really?
Near around the middle. This is what gives hydraulic lifters their adjustability, automatic adjustability, to make up for cam wear.
This is getting technical.
Mad camshaft scientist, what can you say?
Okay, now you're going to measure what?
We're going to measure the lifter stroke.
Okay.
So at 0 lash, we're going to push down on this, shoving it into the lifter bore. And there's 100, 110, 120, about 135 thousandths lifter stroke.
Okay.
So that's the window that we need to work within as we determine the correct push rod length. We want to position the lifter somewhere near the center to upper portion of its stroke. And that way you'll have a nice quiet noise.
Okay, so we finished measuring all 16, and we have another one that has no lash, right?
Right.
So we've got 2 push rods that are workable. Is that right?
Yeah, the motor would be happy with them.
Okay, so you've made a table.
Yeah, we have
Right.
this a list.
So what do you got there?
We're finding most of them to be around the 50 to 75 thousandths short. Hole number 8, we're a good 1/8 of an inch short. So I'm thinking if we can buy 120 thousandths long push rod, it'd cover all of those. And then maybe about 150 to 180 thousandths long to cover these.
So one whole set and maybe a couple special ones? That would be the most economical way to go, so it's not so expensive?
I'm hoping so.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
not having to buy so many custom push rods.
And I'm thinking I saw that on Summit Racing's website, so
Yeah.
probably be able to do that.
The racing sites are going to have more availability of custom push rods.
And I've been impressed with their delivery time too,
I'm knocked out.
like within just a couple of days.
2 days it's on the porch.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
All right, so what's our next step?
Okay.
Just to do some math or what?
kind of doing a little bit of math and then placing the order.
All right, cool.
We're kind of done with the motor right now.
Okay, what do you got there?
Rob, this here is the magic push rod.
Okay, that's the one we used in every hole, right?
We use this push rod to do comparison measurements in every location.
Okay.
So all measurements were compared to this push rod. This is the magic push rod.
Right.
What should we do with it?
Put it in a safe place. Not mix it with the other
don't
15
mix
of
this
them.
one up. This is the God god of push rods.
Okay, should we just put it back in one of the perfect holes where it can stay?
We can do that. So down the road, as you begin to place an order, if all of a sudden the need comes up to go after this particular push rod.
Now that one's marked with a stock number, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. Remember, we chose it special for that reason, that it had the number on it.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, let's not lose that one.
It's a shame we can't position it so the number's visible.
Okay, cool. Where?
To the number one firing position.
Which would be getting this back to 0,
Right.
lined up with that timing pointer. So, tell me what a great job I did on finding this damper.
An excellent job. Hey, finding it was easy. It was doing the research to determine the correct
Now,
damper was the work.
you've passed 0 though.
Oops.
So let's get back to 0, right?
Let's get back to 0.
And that's pretty close. There you go, right?
Alrighty.
Well, maybe a little bit more. Let me just turn the camera off and we'll get it there.
A little bit more. We have positioned the number one cylinder at top dead center, both valves closed, so this is in the firing position. This is important because once Griff mounts this engine into your car, if he doesn't disturb the location of the engine, when we go to drop the distributor in, we know that to clock the distributor to fire at the number one cylinder position.
Okay.
So that's how it's done. So we're kind of clocking the motor now to save us a little bit of time and effort in the future.
Cool. Another problem solved, maybe?
We need push rods.
Okay, Steve,
Yeah.
I've pulled this page off of the Sealed Power Pushrod website, and this really gives the specs of the magic pushrod that we've used to measure all of these locations. So with your chart, what do you recommend that I buy?
Okay. Based upon the numbers, I believe you can get away with 2 different lengths push rods. 14 push rods that are 120 thousandths longer will cover everything except for cylinder number 8. Cylinder number 8, buy 2 push rods that are 200 to 250 thousandths longer.
So that length longer than the magic pushrod that we used.
Correct.
Okay, cool. So I take the length and add those dimensions.
Correct.
Okay, so when I go on Summit Racing website, that's what I look for.
And it's going to be dependent upon availability. You know, we can come up with the perfect number, but short of having a custom push rod made, you're not going to find available a perfect size push rod for your needs.
But we could find custom ones if we had to.
If you had to. But I'm thinking you could probably get away with using some commercially available oversized push rods.
All right, well, we'll check that out. Anything else? Is that pretty much it?
We're done for now until we get some push rods.
All right, so until next time.
That's it.
Oh, the boys will be back now. You're part of the crew. See you next time on Project 302.